are changing in our organization? I think that pretty much every role is changing in our organization right now. There are parts of everybody's job that, especially in my firm, again, with our size being a mid-sized firm that's pretty centrally located, there was a lot of things that were done informally, done in person, and I think in all of those things are really changing to either move towards a virtual setting, or in some cases, taking a look to see what's needed and not needed.
We are rapidly moving from a let's take care of physical things and let's make sure that physical things are available for people to have access to, and helping people work to maintain those type of connections and that type of thing, to a world where many of our key services are available via the cloud. And the role that is specifically changing are the people that used to be optimized for hardware and software support on-prem are now being asked to learn how to optimize and secure things that are available through the cloud. That relates to things like authentication, end user access. What is the way that your firm is going to have an automated function based upon different entities that may be in the cloud? That's the change in direction that I see happening. Another of which is that people are moving away from in-person events to virtual events. So the logistics associated with having 100 people show up for a big meeting or 500 people show up for a big meeting, the planning of that is the same, but the execution is radically different in a virtual world, and people are adjusting their skills accordingly to move in that direction.
How people worked within their roles is probably the biggest change, more than the kind of roles. But we are seeing more roles, definitely, and different career paths for non-practicing lawyers within the law firm.
Within IT, within the team that I work with, I don't know that the roles are changing. I think some of the focus of our roles are changing. One of the things we're really driving to do is to transition from the concept of providing the tools, delivering the technology, and shall we say, fingers crossed, hoping everybody picks it up. One particular example of this is I've asked the team responsible for user education to really shift their focus from the concept of providing training, something that someone can consume and then walk away and hopefully apply, to more of an area of education and enablement. Right? I believe it's important not only to teach the buttons and the windows and the fields that need to be filled in, but also how it's used in the way we work. Putting a piece of technology in the hand of a lawyer and not really helping them put it to practice is only half the job. So again, I don't think roles themselves are changing for us. What it is across the team, we're just trying to put more focus on adoption and thinking about what do we do to help the lawyers in particular make use of what we already have.
Eu estou no escritório há 15 anos e tenho visto uma evolução substancial nos papéis que têm surgido, né? Os escritórios de advocacia aqui no Brasil, ainda hoje, eles têm basicamente, são formados por advogados e o staff, pessoal administrativo, que variam desde secretária, pessoal de RH, contabilidade, né? Pessoas que dão suporte ao exercício da advocacia. E nos últimos anos, o que eu tenho visto, pelo menos lá no meu escritório, é uma mudança no papel, e alguns advogados, que é assim que a gente tem começado, desenvolvendo papéis mais estratégicos, como, por exemplo, Knowledge Management, né, gestão do conhecimento, Legal Operations, que é uma advogada também tem liderado um grupo de advogados, né, nessa vertente, e até o pessoal do staff, né, o nosso administrativo, eles têm evoluído para papéis mais estratégicos. Então, é importante não ter só uma pessoa de TI, por exemplo, que saiba conectar cabos ou instalar programa, mas que vejam o mercado da advocacia como um todo e entendam como agregar valor, como ser um parceiro mesmo de negócio. Então, eu tenho visto essa profissionalização das atividades que a gente chama de áreas meio, e algumas mudanças, alguns papéis novos já tomados pela tecnologia, já até para serem um intérprete em alguns momentos entre os advogados e o staff, né, para fazer esse meio campo. E eu tenho boas expectativas para que isso continue evoluindo em outros escritórios e tomando outros exemplos para a gente continuar crescendo.
What roles are being invented? Another excellent question. There's a few that come to mind. Cloud engineers, people who are well-versed in how to secure, control access, and monitor the availability and the utilization of data that are in a variety of different locations that are no longer just your primary data center. That's one. Another of which is, how do you make and enable your firm's culture to thrive in a virtual world? There are a variety of things that you can do based upon things like Zoom or WebEx or any audiovisual capability, and thinking in terms of how you maintain the cohesiveness of your group, how you bring new people on board, how you bring them into the fold, how you recognize that you have problems that you need to work through. These are all skills that are needing to be developed as well.
I would say the biggest area where new roles are coming into play are anything to do with data analysis, really looking into the rich data that we have within the law firm and analyzing it and, planning action around that. So I think you're seeing more data scientists and those kinds of roles being added to law firms. The other area where I see increased roles is in the area of diversity and inclusion. So many firms had started to hire a manager or director of diversity and inclusion, but now I see other roles in that area coming into the.
What roles are being invented? I think that for roles being invented, we have not had, distinct roles being invented. And, I laugh at that because I have a job title that I made up. So I do find some humor in this question. I think that job roles are changing because there are different aspects that are now being added to some roles where some things are being taken away as well. So this idea of better virtually managing a practice, helping to facilitation is really a huge thing now in terms of, whether it's facilitating meetings, facilitating, just the flow of information. I see a lot of people picking up those sorts of tasks within their job.
Invented roles. Well, I'd love to say that we are inventing something new and novel. The truth is that what we're really doing is probably putting in place roles where we need focus going forward. Reporting and analytics is an important initiative for us next year. And along those lines, some of the roles that I guess you could say we're inventing is this concept that I've coined the phrase of citizen analyst. The goal that I have in mind is to take the data of the firm, bring it to an information platform, a data layer that's accessible by anyone in the firm using tools that they can take advantage of to do ad hoc analysis. Sorry. My belief is that there's a lot of power in giving the tools to individuals in the business to be able to look at something, answer a question, solve a problem, and then be able to present that or share that with their colleagues or to the firm leadership. I think the days of a few with the skills, crunching the numbers, doing the analysis, and providing the results are behind us. And I think this concept of a citizen analyst is an important thing. So from a new role perspective, that's one I think we're inventing. Some would say, well, you're just enabling something that needs to be done. But for us, I think it's an invention. I'll throw one more thing out there, just maybe my colleagues and peers out there in the world are doing this. We're also inventing the role of a WebEx concierge. Biggest change during the pandemic is the adoption of WebEx as a way of meeting and collaboration, both internally and externally. And surprisingly, one individual on the team is fully booked and fully utilized, helping for folks take advantage of that platform.
Os papéis, como eu disse, têm sido mais... não seria muito mudança de papéis, mas uma questão de profissionalização desses papéis. E no campo desses papéis da área meio, né, de staff, o que a gente tem visto é a contratação de outras pessoas do mercado, inclusive, que não trabalham tradicionalmente em escritório de advocacia. Então, a gente contratou, por exemplo, no escritório, um estatístico, né, que hoje a gente tem um grupo com analista de dados, que já é um papel, além de estatístico, tem um viés tecnológico, analista de processos de negócios, gerente de projetos, programadores, né? Então, são pessoas com diferentes backgrounds, mas que têm agregado. Então, a gente tem trazido um olhar de negócio, em geral, para dentro do escritório de advocacia, e para a gente poder entender, inclusive, melhor o cliente, para conseguir fazer com que os interesses dele de negócio, a gente não resolver apenas problemas jurídicos, né? Legal problems, mas que a gente resolva também business problems, né? Problemas de negócio dos nossos clientes. Então, ter esse olhar de negócio dentro do escritório, num viés mais estratégico, também é uma crescente, né? Nesses novos papéis que têm surgido.
What roles are going away? Boy, that's a tough question, but it's a good one. People who were specifically designated to do a set function, particularly if it was based upon the idea that they would be in the office and have the ability to walk down the hall to somebody, those roles are going away. The ability for folks to work virtually, to manage, watch, and optimize the flow of data across a variety of different solutions, and also the folks that can help facilitate large events in a virtual world. Those positions are gaining prominence at light speed, whereas the person who was responsible for doing a specific thing, those roles are going away. Flexibility is the key.
Como aqui a gente tem os papéis, né, são mais advogado e staff, não consigo visualizar muito um papel que esteja desaparecendo, mas atividades que estejam desaparecendo. Né? Então, atividades desenvolvidas pelos advogados, isso é uma tendência, né? Mas eu acho que isso vai ser acelerado agora, especialmente por conta da pandemia. É a questão de trabalhos puramente manuais, como a realização de cadastro de processos em sistemas, a obtenção de cópias. Alguns papéis estão sendo reformulados, né? Estamos melhorando e deixando mais estratégicos. Então, a gente tirar essas manualidades não está fazendo com que surjam ou que desapareçam posições dentro do escritório. A gente tem, inclusive, crescido em quantidade de pessoas, mas tornando realmente um trabalho mais estratégico, tirando duplicidade, tirando manualidade, mas eu não vejo ainda, dentro da nossa realidade brasileira, um desaparecimento, pelo menos não consigo pensar de papéis específicos.
You know, there are no roles going away. As a CIO or as any manager, that would be a dream, right? To say that this is no longer needed, this goes away, because then all of a sudden I have new capacity, either with the individuals on the team or new types of individuals and so forth. So no roles are going away. I think with the pandemic and with what we've all had to adapt to, I think everyone's role has changed to some extent. And maybe there are some things that we jettison. Lawyers meeting in person with their clients perhaps has gone away in favor of meeting via WebEx or Zoom or one of the other platforms. For the secretaries and the assistants, perhaps some of the days of administrative logistics, organizing and scheduling things have gone away because there's less of that. But what does that mean for them in the future? Where can their skills be applied that would add value to the lawyer's work or to the firm in general? So, you know, I think it's a good question. It's one that is giving me pause to think about. But in truth, I don't think anything's going away. I think just all roles are going to need to adapt to whatever our next normal is. I won't call it a new normal because I don't believe any normal stays forever. So we'll say it's our next normal.
Again, I don't think that it's necessarily that roles are going away as the roles are changing. So there are some tasks that, for example, need to be done in person, and where in the past, it may have been 10% of somebody's time, and I'm making up a number, to do those sorts of tasks. It may be that we need to change how the work flows, so it's not that you need everybody to come in for 10% of their time, but rather you have one person who does those in-person tasks. So I see it more as the roles are changing because we're taking a look at the tasks that need to be done, and rather than saying this role does these tasks, going about it the other way and saying, what are the tasks that need to be done and what are the roles we need to fill those tasks?
Well, so far, and again, fingers crossed, I really can't point to any roles that are completely disappearing. What I will say is, going back to how roles are changing, I think that a lot of attention is being paid to the role of the legal assistant, and what those legal administrative assistants will be doing next year and in the coming years is a lot different, I think, than what they have been doing in the past. I think the numbers are going to change as well, as lawyers become more adept and self-sufficient in certain areas. So I think there's going to be a lot of change in that. I think we've already seen, and there will be a continued change in the roles of law librarians and law libraries themselves. The services they provide, I think, are changing fundamentally from what they used to be.